Hello, everybody. I'm. Yep. That is English. I just spoke. I think. So, let's try this again. Good morning, everybody. I wanted to apologize for my absence. My computer's been in the shop. I'm not ditching you guys. Don't worry. I'm not uninterested with RR2 all of a sudden. I just haven't been able to get my computer working to record because this laptop I'm using right now ain't the greatest. So I just wanted to address a couple of problems you might encounter while making your bots. And that's, say you're making a overhead spinner like this, and you can't get your bot to self-right. Or in my case, you can't flip your bot over, so you can try to see if it self-rights. There you go. So, see, control, try that. And another problem you might be having is you're just not hitting very hard. Like, dink, little p. You might as well just be wedging it. So, you might be wondering, how do I fix this? Well, I'm glad you asked. The main problem you're encountering is gearing, which is a very mysterious thing that I really don't like, because you don't entirely understand it. You just kind of tinker with it until it feels right. But a few numbers you can watch to see how much gearing you have is your torque contribution and Newton meters, and your RPM in revolutions per minute. These are two numbers to watch because that'll tell you how fast you're spinning and how much torque you're pushing out to get that up and spinning. The more torque you have, the lower your RPM is, but the more powerful it is. Like, for example, if you're using this on drive, if you have a bunch of torque, you can plow people all across the box. You might be able to accelerate fast if you've got big tires, but your tires themselves aren't spinning very quickly, which might be a good thing because that means you're staying under control. But say you're using it for a spinner, a lot of torque means you can self-right pretty easily. It's really hard to get the weapon to stop spinning, but it means you're not spinning very fast, so you can tap, 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 tap all day long, but you're not going to get very big hits. So you're going to just go over here, and the higher the higher the number on the left is, the more torque you're going to have. The lower the number on the right, the more torque you're going to have. But since this is a chain, I'm going to try to I'm going to try to get whichever number lower as opposed to making the other one bigger, because if I make it bigger, we're going to have bigger gears, which is going to take more weight, and that's just not something we want. So let's try 2 to 0.25. Alright, got a bit of a slower spin up, which is one thing you will notice the less gearing you put on it. The higher the tip speed and the more RPM you have, the slower you're going to take, the more time you're going to take to get up to that speed. But this still isn't a half bad spin up, so let's just try tapping again against the wall a bit. See, you're gonna spin now, which is normal for this bot. See, you're hitting a bit harder. You're actually starting to cause sounds. And test it on the box. And you can actually tap them around a bit. Now, let's just let the weapon spin down. And scroll up. See, we've got about half the torque we had before we had. So actually, we have 4 Newton meters less torque. And it's still hitting itself right. But at least we're not spinning completely out of control, and we can kind of land like that. But it takes a lot of practice, so let's put it down to 0.99. Alright, see, fairly slow spin up, but it's not unbearably slow. This is actually pretty controlled, up to 200 miles an hour now, and, let's see how we hit. See, it's much better for an overhead. admittedly you may notice that the RPMs plummet, and that's because of all of that energy. Now let's try to self-right. And here's one upside made for this body is it can spin in both directions, which means if I can't self-right one way because of the bar or because of how I landed against a wall, I can't self-right one way, but I can kind of wiggle myself off and self-right the other way. There you go. Now, just make sure to watch your torque, watch your RPM, and of course watch your tip speed. You don't want to get this thing, like, to illegal speeds. Alright, well, that's all I had today. You guys have a great one, and, bye-bye.